What up, everybody? It's Pastor Janelle. And what did I do today? I had worship today, and then after worship, I saved a pigeon. And it wasn't easy. I had a lot of back and forth in my head about whether I should or not. So I was walking towards my apartment, and then in the walkway, I saw this pigeon that wasn't like really moving, but it was just sitting there. And so I was wondering if it was okay. But kind of tried to ignore it, went to my apartment. And then I sat there feeling like, dang, if that pigeon is sick or if it's hurt, I'm going to be annoyed at myself if I come out there and then walk by and it's dead or something. My conscience was like bothering me. So I went inside. When I went inside my apartment, I looked up hella numbers, trying to figure out what to do with this pigeon. And here's the thing. A lot of places for animal control are closed on Sundays. Vets nearby won't take in or treat birds or wildlife. Some of the wildlife areas here won't take your pigeon unless you know it's a native pigeon, and they wanted me to check its feet. I couldn't check its feet because it was barely like walking and barely moving, and I didn't want to hurt it some more. So anyway, then I called a bunch of places, went online, looked up, and all these places gave me different numbers that just kind of ended up looping me around into calling numbers I had already called. And you're supposed to call police dispatch. That's another alternative. And so as much as I didn't want to call the police, they told me that because the pigeon was on private property, they couldn't take care of it, and they told me to call my leasing office or management office of my apartment. They're not open on Sundays either. And so in between all these calls and all the research online, I kept opening up my door and like looking at the walkway. Pigeon was still there. I went outside and walked up to it again, and this time the wind had changed, and so it's raining today. It's raining pretty hard. The wind changed direction, and so now the rain is hitting the bird, and now I really know that the bird is pretty injured because it's just sitting there and letting the rain hit it, and felt so bad about that. I got to the point of joining a Facebook group for people who rescue pigeons. And I ended up posting on there a picture of the bird, a picture of the pigeon, and then what my situation was and how I tried calling hella places. And folks were like, take it in. And I was like, dang, dude, I'm for real gonna have to catch a pigeon. So I went out there, looked online, had a shoebox ready, lined with a shirt that I was going to give away, and then had a towel ready so that I could throw it on the bird and then pick it up, scoop it up. I had a hard time doing it. It was rainy, it was windy. I was carrying the box and the towel, following this bird, and the bird would get up once in a while and like limp forward as much as it could. A neighbor across the way saw me on a different floor, and he's like, I'm gonna come help you. And so he comes up and he's like, give me the towel. I give him the towel. He right away scoops up the bird, and then we put him in the box, brought him into my house or my apartment, put him in the bathroom because I have a cat, and then just kept checking the Facebook group to see if anyone's responded to me. Finally had somebody nearby who said that they were going to take it to a rescue. They had another pigeon that they were going to take to a rescue place tomorrow morning. I'm not posting this to be like, oh, I saved it. No, I mean, I wrestled a lot in my head about whether I should save this pigeon because it's Sunday, I'm tired, I haven't had a meal yet, I just want to take a nap, eat some good and like veg out. A lot of pastors want to do that on Sunday after worship, but I just couldn't. And I was wondering if I was going too far, joining a Facebook group and all this stuff for a pigeon, you know? And then, yeah, it wasn't an automatic decision for me to like help this pigeon. It was more like, I know it's gonna bother me if I walk out there and that pigeon is dead. And I know that this all started with me being bothered by my own conscience and, you know, because I didn't want to be suffering anymore. But, you know, like a lot of things, compassion is something that you have to practice until it becomes easier, until you get better at it. You know, things like love, things like forgiveness, things like, you know, being able to nurture. Those are things that you practice over time and get better at over time. So even though it started out with me wanting to ease my own suffering, this experience just makes it easier next time for when I see a similar type of suffering. If I run across another bird, now I know what to do. Now I know who to call. And if y'all run into the same thing, I can support you all in trying to figure things out too, so that we all don't have to be reinventing the wheel. Anyway, there are a lot of folks out there who are trying to be on the side of life and who are trying to do the little things that they can to, you know, lessen any kind of suffering in this world. And I know that people are like, oh, people care about animals more than humans. And I don't want to get into that because that feels like some weird kind of oppression Olympics. But I do know that there's a tendency to love differently and to care differently. And I just hope that the pigeon is going to survive the night. I'm really thankful for the volunteers that offered to pick up the pigeon. And, you know, man, trying to find someone to help this creature was really hard. I didn't know that I would be given the runaround like this, you know. So that's a bit disappointing. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share. I saved a pigeon, man. Yeah. All right. Happy New Year, y'all.